Mandalas. All right, so in this video, I'm going to show you two different ways to make mandalas. The first way is on paper, and we need to make a square out of our paper. And this is a really easy way to do it. Fold the corner to the edge of the paper and then crease it. And then with the little remainder part, fold it to the edge of your triangle and crease it. And what we're going to do at this point is we are going to take a scissors and we're going to carefully cut it off, and we're going to save that piece. I'm going to show you a really cool trick. Okay, so we've saved that piece. Now it's creased once, it's folded once. We're going to fold it again, sort of the opposite way to the other two corners. Make a nice crease. We're going to do this 2 more times. Unfold it and then fold it in half. Then unfold it, turn, and fold again. When you undo it, this is a really easy way to make 4 full folds or 8 sections of your square paper. And all the folds meet at the middle, and that's important. Now with your remainder paper, I want you to make several lines along one edge. They don't have to be any, you don't have to measure them. You can just make a few lines sort of wherever you want. And it's like we're making a one-use ruler out of this. This is a really cool thing. I'm zooming in so you can see what I'm doing. Using the first mark on your page, at the center of your paper where all the folds meet, and you can see I made a little dot there, I am going to use these as a guide to make lines at each fold. So I did one. Now I turned it a little bit and to the next fold line, and I'm just going to repeat this step on each fold. Now that all of the lines have been done, you can start to see the circles. The ones that are closest to the center, they almost look like a circle, and so basically I'm just kind of connecting them. With each subsequent circle, you can see I'm making sort of a curved line to connect the marks on my paper, and I'm just sort of filling in the rest of the circle. This is a really easy way to make one or many circles. So, keep this in mind the next time that you have to create, a circular pattern on a page. This is just one of those really good art techniques to put in your mental art toolbox. Look at that, so easy. So I'm going to make my mandala as a celebration of spring. So I went through my colored pencils and I picked out a color palette of colors that remind me of spring. Either, the rain that the gardens need, the sun, the color of soil, the green for plants and grasses. I didn't do this for this demonstration, but what I could have done is I could have written a description of what each of these colors mean. It comes in handy when you want to make a mandala that's really personal to you. But for this one, I'm just doing spring, and I'm just kind of thinking about spring colors. So from the center, I'm just coming up with a pattern. I don't really have anything in mind as I'm doing this. I'm just kind of starting from the center and creating something. Knowing that I'm thinking about spring, I'm thinking about seeds and plants and grass, and so that's sort of the abstract of what my design choices are throughout this whole mandala. Now, I'm also doing something where I'm keeping in mind the folds, and I'm using those as a guide. So for each of those sort of half circles, I wanted them to, at the tallest point of each half circle, I wanted them to be sort of at each fold line. So it's just a nice handy guide for me for this process and for following the following steps that I'm doing. And I colored them in. And now I'm using these folds again. I'm putting little ovals like seed pods at each fold. Now I'm going in the middle. I'm just sort of eyeballing it. I'm not measuring. I'm just eyeballing it to sort of put a seed pod in the middle of those. Now I'm going back and I'm doing the same thing in between each one. This is a really easy way for me, without using any measurements, to sort of have a nice even pattern. And I can do the same thing again. I just decided to change colors, put a little seed pod in between these ovals that I've made. And the only thing I'm thinking about throughout the whole drawing of this is just spring. Plants, planting, new life, new growth. You can go back. What I'm doing at this stage is I'm going back and I'm sort of adding a little bit of decoration in between an earlier circle. You can go out or you can go in. And you can see the circles are growing in size. So, I'm still doing the thing where I went on each fold, then I went in the middle, and then I added something in between the middle and the fold half circles. It's just a nice, fun way to draw. I'm adding, I added some more jazz on the outside, and I'm just sort of filling in, making patterns, making circles, making lines, thinking about planting, thinking about things sort of growing and and becoming really colorful, blooming. The things are getting bigger. My designs are getting bigger the more I move out. And this is just sort of a decorative thing I've decided to do. The wonderful thing about making mandalas is that as long as you're keeping in mind like what the general theme is, it really gives your mind a lot of room to sort of relax and just create something beautiful. The final touch I'm doing is sort of, thinking about like the sun, warmth. So I'm using warmer colors for the outside decorations. And it just feels like a celebration. That's why I like mandalas so much. It's a meditation and a celebration. And then when you're all finished, you have a beautiful mandala to celebrate spring. Now, mandalas don't have to be just on paper, and in fact, a natural mandala is one of the best ways to enjoy the mandala making process because it's temporary and it's really just for the moment. And it's a really wonderful way to connect with nature. So what I'm doing in my backyard right now is I'm making a mandala out of rocks that I gathered. It's just a really nice meditative practice, just like the drawing. But it's just a nice, wonderful way to sort of meditate, breathe, slow your body down, slow your mind down, and just focus on a very gentle, wonderful task. And it's okay that it's not going to last forever. I really like making mandalas out in in a park or at the beach, and then knowing that somebody's going to come across it and see it, and just know that somebody else was there and that somebody else took the time to sort of create something beautiful. I'm doing the same mandala pattern that I did with the drawing, started from the middle and worked my way out. And then I added little extra jazz, with smaller rocks. And you can make mandalas out of anything. You can, any sort of natural material that you find. And look, it looks beautiful. It's just a nice, sweet thing. You can also do them with plants. This is a really great way to do it. In the spring, there's not a lot of really colorful plants available, but there's enough. It's really windy when I'm making this, so the rock using rocks in this one too helped to sort of hold everything down. If I was at the beach and I was making this, I would probably just try to stick them in the sand a little bit. But here I'm just using I have some green. Some green leaves growing in already, so I picked a few of those, and then just a few lawn flowers, sort of wildflowers from my front yard that I picked, and I'm just starting from the center and working my way out. It makes me feel really good and happy, and it's sort of nice to sort of sit outside in the warmth, in nature. And listening to the sounds of the birds and the wind was just like, that's what I remember about making this. It's really a nice, calming way to spend an afternoon. And there it is. Go out and make a mandala today.